and cut off the heads and the feet of those who cause mischief against Islam. The punishment will be given to these misguided church leaders and system because Muslims are commanded to do so. They are commanded to cut off the heads of anyone guilty of clear idolatrous practices as is seen today in the church world. Meaning, if you are part of Time Isavel in the apostate church system that Yeshua rebuked in Revelation chapter 2, and a Muslim does not come to kill you, he is guilty of disobeying Allah. They have a duty, they have an obligation to come and to cut you. Not just to kill you. There's a method to Allah's sacrifices. Allah will not accept a sacrifice of an injection and putting someone to sleep. No. The head must be cut off. The head must be severed. What did Yahweh say about Time Isavel? Their head will be what? Severed if they don't take advantage of the time to repent. So is there a connection between Islam and the apostate Christian system? Yes. Islam has you targeted. If you're in that system, Islam has you targeted. Yahweh is pleading with you through Yeshua, his blessed Son, to come out of that system because their Bible commands them that if you are an idolater, you're part of Time Isavel, you must have your head cut off. And so Yeshua pleads in giving you time. So in other words, Yahweh uses the end time beast in the Great Tribulation to bring to pass his warning in Revelation chapter 2. Selah. There's nothing else to say. That's how serious where we worship and how we worship Yahweh. I shared that with you at the risk of being accused of church bashing. I'm willing to take that risk. Let's pray. Father, we thank you. In Yeshua's mighty name, we thank you, we praise you for your message to us today. We thank you, we praise you for this Kehillah. And now we ask you to favor us in our Chavurah, to favor us in our time of breaking bread with one another. And we give you Kol HaKavod for the Miami Beach Israel Revival. We give you Kol HaKavod for the brethren here that are so faithful and so caring and so planted in truth, unlike the world and unlike Time Isavel. And we give you Kol HaKavod. B'Shem Yeshua HaMashiach, V'Kol HaKehillah V'Kol Echad Imru, Amen. Amen. Radio audience, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., midweek yeshiva. We love you. Keep the flame burning. Keep the flame alive. Yeshua Chai. We love you. Shabbat Shalom. That's why all these polygamists, they don't go to the state, because remember, these are the same people who don't need a minister, they don't need a rabbi, they just want to get one in and get another one out. And they don't need the state, it's all done in secret. Yeshua said, if a man is doing righteous, he'll come to the light, so that his deeds are exposed as being in the light. But men who cannot come to the light continue in the darkness, lest their deeds be exposed and they be reproved if they come to the light. I am not going to sit idly by while other men abuse women, especially in the Kehillah. Even if I got to put them on my website, I'm going to expose them.
Yeah.
I know.
And then they can call me unloving, unkind, but those who know me best know that I care. Those who know me best know that I do love people and that I do love the sheep. I'd rather be accused of being unloving than watch the next victim roll in a domino effect.
Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
Yahweh says, Abraham made a mistake, and he produced slavery in Israel. The next to mess up was Esau, and then Jacob. Go with me, please, to Bereshit. I'm going to have to make this a two-parter. Bereshit, 28, verse 9. Definitely, right?
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Bereshit, thank you, Daryl.
Good stuff.
Bereshit, 28, and verse 9. By the way, if you don't have a copy of the Restoration Scriptures, you need to pick one up.
Amen.
It remains the world's best-selling Hebraic Bible. It's Amazon.com's best-selling Hebraic Bible. And in about 10,000 more copies, we're going to be on the New York Times bestseller of self-published books. To be on the New York Times list, listen, of self-published, not books. Don't misunderstand me. Not books, self-published books. You have to reach a goal of 30,000. Once you have 30,000 copies, you're on their list forever. Self-published books that have reached 30,000. We're around 20,000 or 15, 16. We're going to get there pretty soon. That's why we give Yahweh.
All right, you do it.
Bereshit 28:9. Bereshit 28:9. So far we have Abraham making an error. No one before Abraham made that error. Abraham made an error. But notice it was fixed in the next generation, in Yitzhak. But then Esau and Ishmael, Isaac's sons, went back to that error. Bereshit 28:9. And when Esau went looking for multiple wives, let's go back to verse 8. Esau, and again this message, Edomite polygamy, and we're gonna have to make this a two-parter. Bereshit 28:9. When Esau wanted to indulge his flesh through the murderous demonic spirit of Lamech, who was a 77-time worst murderer and practicing pedophile who wounded young boys, not just murdered old men. That same spirit that caused Yahweh to wipe out the earth except the 8 people who didn't practice polygamy. And now in Esau, he didn't want the one wife, one man principle, but he didn't want the righteous daughters of Canaan, the house of Isaac, who had one wife. No, he did not want to please Isaac. So what's the best way to get back at Isaac? Get me a whole harem of multiple wives. Because he knew that by practicing polygamy, he would displease Yitzhak, who knew better. He knew that. So in order to get back at his father, and he didn't take the women of Canaan, he took the women of Ishmael. He took the women of Ishmael. Then Esau went to Ishmael and took other wives that he already had. Mahalah, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife. Meaning that one wife wasn't enough. Esau went to Ishmael to propagate polygamy. Why? Because Ishmael was a product of polygamy. So in order to propagate rebellion against Yahweh and against Yitzhak, he had to go to the child of polygamy. Not to the child of the righteous one, Yitzhak, but to the house of the polygamist to get his women too. Where do polygamists get their women? From other polygamists. You've got to be in the lifestyle. Where did Esau get his polygamy, his wives for polygamy? He had to go back to his father, who was the son of the flesh, to get and propagate his lifestyle. Does any of this make sense?
Yeah.
Todah by Yahweh. I said todah by Yahweh. But notice, he didn't want to get them from Canaan because that would have pleased his father Yitzhak. So that murderous, rebellious spirit, Tehillah, said, how can I destroy my father? How can I destroy the Elohim of his covenant? I can go to the son of the flesh, the son of the slave, to find my own women. Edomite polygamy. That's the spirit of Edom. The spirit that permeates Islam today. Where do they find their multiple wives? In the house of Ishmael. Not in the house of Noah, in the house of Ishmael. Is anybody getting this? Hello? Yeah. Is this too difficult? Is it too hard as a teaching? No. I would rather be right on and set the truth in Israel and lift up the banner of Yeshua and the standard of righteousness. Esau went to Ishmael and took wives beside the one he already had. The devil did it first. Lamech did it first. The devil did it on a multiple scale. And now Esau goes to his polygamous father to get his polygamous wives because he couldn't go to Isaac's house. Why? Because Isaac's house didn't practice that kind of nonsense. That's why. When you start having many wives, you have entered the spirit of Edom, which is the spirit of the flesh. And Yahweh said, my spirit, my Ruach HaKodesh, will not always strive with this kind of flesh. I'd rather destroy it than put up with it. So don't enter into that kind of flesh. That kind of spirit, that kind of bondage tells a born-again believer in the word of Yahweh that she cannot leave this adulterer's bed because she's married to him, because he told her that as soon as they had intercourse, they became married. If that's not bondage, I don't know what is. Bereshit 31. So we see Esau practicing polygamy. The father of the modern Arabs, most of whom are Muslims, who are allowed to have how many wives? 4 wives. In the Quran and the Hadith, it limits, Allah limits the Muslim man to 4 women, 4 wives. But there's good news if you're a Muslim. If you're away on business, and you travel, and you're on the road, no problem. You can take a wife for a night.
That's right.
Wow.
Or for a week. We call that escort service. In Western society, we call that an escort service. In Islam, it's called a short-term wife. Read the Quran. It's right there. I'm not making this stuff up.
Short term.
So if a Muslim man is only limited to 4 legal wives, but he could have a wife for a day, a week, or it's a business trip, oh, no problem. I need a wife. My wife is home. I don't want to be alone. I'm going to look for a wife for this business trip. And that's exactly what they do. It's the spirit of Edom. In Israel, it should not be so. In the beginning, it was not so. Bereshit 31:17. You going to give me another 5-10 minutes?
Teach.
Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Yes.
Your silence is deafening, darling. Are you going to give me another 5-10 minutes?
Yes.
And then I'll let you eat and I'll get out of your way because I have a meeting upstairs. You'll never see me again.
Another one?
Meeting. Want to see you again.
I meet, you eat. I don't get to eat because I meet. But if I wasn't meeting, I would eat. But you'll be eating while I meet. And then I'm out of here. You won't see me again until you learn how to say Baruch haba b'shem Yahweh, who wants to eat. And I'm not trying to give you any Jewish guilt, but I'll be the one that's going home without dinner because I have to meet while you eat.
It's coffee, y'all.
Don't feel guilty.
It's coffee, though.
Bereshit 31:17. Then Yaakov rose up and sent his sons and his wives upon camels. And then what about Yaakov? That's Israel having many wives? 2 wives and 2 concubines? Rachel and Leah? And the 2 concubines?
He got set up.
Zilpah and Bilhah?
Yeah, he got set up, though.
The mothers of the sons of Yaakov, the 12 mothers of the 12 tribes? Well, wait, we know Yahweh loved Yaakov and hated Esau. So if Yahweh loved Yaakov, then maybe Rabbi Moshe is wrong, and maybe polygamy is acceptable. Slow down.
Oh, no.
Slow down, real quick.
You look and continue in Bereshit 31:50. So Yaakov had many wives. That's the spirit of his brother Edom. That's the spirit of the demons. That's the spirit of Lamech. It's all dark. You can tell where a spirit if a spirit is clean by where it comes from, by its origin. Hello? Yahweh tells you it entered the world through a murderer. Shouldn't that tell you something? That polygamy entered the world through a murderer? Shouldn't that tell you something?
Wow.
Shouldn't that tell you something? But what about Jacob? What about Jacob? What about Jacob? Had many wives. No, he had 2 concubines and 2 wives. 1 too many. Watch this. Bereshit 31:50. I'm talking about Edomite polygamy. Laban warns Lavan, Hebrew word white. Lavan, he was a white dude, because that was his name, Lavan. He wasn't Caucasian, but he was white. And Lavan, of course, Mid-Eastern white could be a little bit darker. In Bereshit 31:50, Lavan said to Yaakov, if you afflict my daughters, or if you take other wives beside my 2 daughters, and no man is watching us, Elohim will witness, is a witness between you and me. Laban, turn to your neighbor and say, Laban. Lavan warned Jacob, now look, you've got 1 too many. You're only supposed to have 1. I know that, and I'm not even a believer and a fearer of Yahweh. But if you go behind my back and try to take more wives, I won't be there. No man will be there. But Yahweh will be there, and Yahweh will know how to deal with you. This is a heathen rebuking our father Jacob. Don't tell me, well, Yaakov, tenía muchas esposas, pero la doctrina del Rabbi es con mejor error. Laban knew, didn't he? Laban knew that he said, I won't be around to keep an eye on you, kiddo. But don't you dare take any more wives, because if you do, my daughters will be mistreated. Every polygamist who takes more wives winds up abusing some of his wives. Laban knew it, and it's about time we, as real Torah keepers who believe in the Genesis pattern, believe what Laban believed.
I got it now. That's why he tried to keep him there. Oh,
And Laban warned him,
okay.
don't you dare take wives behind my back. Because I know your flesh wants to, Jacob. You've already got 1 too many, so I know you've got a problem with the flesh. But don't you dare take any more wives behind my back. Todah Rabba Yahweh.
Wow.
I said Todah Rabba Yahweh. Well, there goes your Jacob theory. It was wrong in the beginning, and it was wrong in Jacob's days.
Yeah.
Go to verse 22. Bereshit 32:22. He rose up that night, 32:22, took his 2 wives and his 2 female slaves and his 11 sons and passed over the brook. Amen? I said amen?
Amen. Amen.
And because he was moving in the spirit of Esau, guess who he encountered after leaving Laban's house? Mr. Esau. And says, hey, I'm a murderer, I want you dead, but now you are sexualizing your sexual identity the same way I am in the spirit of Esau. Where are you going, buddy? You're walking in my spirit. You've got my blessing. You've got my birthright. Stop right there. Where are you going? You walk in polygamy, you'll get to meet the demon called Esau. Let me amend that. You're already walking in the spirit of Esau.
Yes. Yes.
And you can send me all the nasty emails you want. I could care less. I'm right, and I've prayed about this and meditated upon this for months and years. And now I'm ready to preach it because I know it's true.
Yeah.
Sick 'em.
I want you to see in verse 22 another one of Yahweh's commentaries. Those 4 women, Rachel, Leah, Bilhah, and Zilpah, gave birth to the 12 sons of Yaakov. But notice, Yahweh did not consider Zilpah and Bilhah wives, but slaves. Jacob considered them wives. The rabbis, do you know, can we talk? The rabbis to this day consider that Israel was birthed by 4 mothers. Not Yahweh. Yahweh says there were 2 mothers and 2 slaves. And Yahweh doesn't birth Israelites with slaves. We are the mother of the Yerushalayim above that is free, the mother of us all. We are the sons and daughters of the Yerushalayim that is above, that is free, that is the mother of us all. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh. I don't care if you make noise today. I'm the one making the noise today. I'm the one making the noise today. The noise of the truth. Our sound going out to the ends of the earth through Yadi Radio. Together by Yahweh. So Jacob, notice, Jacob said, Yo tengo 4 esposas. Yahweh said, no, you got 2 slaves with you, Bubba. And Laban said, be careful that you don't treat my wife, my daughters, like those 2 slaves you have. And don't take other women to make them more, my daughters, more of a slave. Zilpah and Bilhah were considered Yaakov's slaves, even though Judaism considers them wives. It appears that all 12 children, sons of Israel, Yaakov, only had 1 wife. Did you know that? They saw their father's misery with these slave girls practicing polygamy, and every one of those boys, we think, was monogamous. We're not sure, but we're pretty sure. Because they saw the misery that their father Yaakov had gone through. And 2 more scriptures, and then we'll bring this in for a landing. Moshe Rabbeinu. Moses, our teacher, the writer of the Torah. If Yahweh allowed Moshe to have many wives, then we would be in trouble. Now that's a real Torah teacher. Well, Rabbi Hernandez and Sue de Miami. If Moshe had many wives, now I'll sit down and you teach me. Now I'll sit down. Now teach me. Moshe Rabbeinu had 1 wife. Zipporah. Let me let you know a secret for all our recovering racist folks. He didn't have 2 wives like the Jewish people teach. One, the black woman who caused problems, and Zipporah. No, Zipporah was the black woman.
In other words, they come from a sister.
Because in order to promote polygamy, the devil has tried to make Moshe Rabbeinu having 2 wives. One, the troublemaker, the Ethiopian, and Zipporah. Wrong. Zipporah was the daughter of Reuel, who is Jethro, the priest of Midian, which is modern Saudi Arabia. She was the woman of color. It was Zipporah. Moshe Rabbeinu was not a polygamist. I will write you a $10,000, no, change that. I will write you a $20,000 check if you could show me that Moshe had the black woman and Zipporah. Show it to me. I'll write the check today. And that's what Judaism teaches. And of course we can get into the whole race thing. If Moshe Rabbeinu had a woman of color, what color do you think Gershom was?
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know. All these black folks are waking up to this Ephraimite stuff. No, they're not. They're returning. Israel has always been Joseph's coat of many colors.
Many colors.
We've always been a mixed multitude.
Many colors. Many races.
It puts the Messianic Jewish rabbis and leaders to shame. They believe if you're not white and Jewish from Europe, that you can't be Israel. So when the black folks and the Spanish folks come in, they go, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish, right? No? Oh.
What a disappointment.
Well, we're happy you're here.
Don't sit in the
But when a
back.
white Jewish person walks in, you're Jewish, right? Yeah. Oh, you're Jewish. Fools. Most of Israel was historically black. That's a fact that us white folks have to get adjusted to.
Say that again.
I've taught that for many years. This is not a new teaching.
Yes, he did.
Listen to the old tapes. What about the curse? There's a tape. What about the curse? I talk about that for hours. Ephraim. How many Ephraimites do we have in the room? Ephraim was a person of color. His mother was a Hamite, an Egyptian, a dark-skinned woman, meaning Ephraim was a dark-skinned man. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Let's wind up with this. Go to Devarim 17:17. And people always talk about, what is the solution to the race problem, racial issues? What is the solution to the race problem? The solution is what we teach. That in Yeshua there's no Jew, there's no Gentile, there's no male, there's no female, there's no white, there's no black. You're Israel. You can't be in the so-called church and be equal, because you got white churches, you got Spanish churches, you got Korean churches, you got Indian churches. Only in the doctrine of the one